It's me, Vicky Marie. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are in this crazy world we're living in. And in today's stream, I'm going to talk about various crazy things that are going on. When I started planning this stream this morning, I had some classes this morning, but before I start classes, I normally try and plan, what I'm going to do in the stream later, what's happening, have a look at the news, what's happening in cases that we're covering, or there's normally things that I want to say from the other day or something extra up, because there's so much to talk about, isn't there? So it sort of started spiraling off control. So I thought, I'll just put, crime chat, general discussion, and we'll just talk about, the things that I'd planned, but also then I received some emails, people sent me interesting things. So it'd be quite long, this stream. So I'm just letting you know that now. I will probably then later break it down into smaller videos about the individual subjects. Again, if I've got time, so I've got quite a lot of classes on a Wednesday. I've just got a few hours. I've got 3 hours now. Is it 3 hours? 2 hours? 3 hours, no classes. And then I've got quite a lot of classes again till late. So, I just thought I'd come on and chat to you all about these various things that you might find interesting. So I'm going to start off. So, of course, Christmas is coming. 4th of December today, if you're watching live, 4th of December 2024. This is the crime news that's happening on this day. Now, you may be watching this a year in the future or something, or even 10 years in the future, who knows? But just to let you know what date it is. So first of all, actually, let me put my banner on and say thank you to everyone. That will lead into one of the things I'm going to talk about today. Thank you for liking my videos, for watching. Fundamentally, thank you for watching. Then thank you for liking. Thank you for subscribing. Special thank you, as always, to my members. And I'm thanking my members this Christmas with a Christmas present that I'm going to talk about in a moment. So thank you to those who gift memberships. Thank you to those who buy me Ko-fi or PayPal me or send me super stickers. Every bit of support, and of course emails, etc., nice messages, supporting my channel in all sorts of ways. Thank you so much. Now, the very first thing I'm going to do actually is I'm going to light the 4 candles, because sometimes I forget to light the candles. I don't have them ready, or and then I put on the virtual candle normally on the on the stream. But I remembered the candles today. Now, remember, when we light the candles, because it's winter now, it's a little bit chilly. In the summer, it's hard for me to light candles because it just gets too hot. I know that sounds ridiculous. If you lived here in Spain, where I live, you would understand what I mean. Or if you live in a hot country, sometimes even just lighting a candle is just too much heat. But anyway, so I'm lighting the 4 candles for all the people we talk about today, all the victims, all the people that are missing. Now, also, we talk about the candles are for the victims and their families, but also for the families of the perpetrators who, are having to live with the fact that their loved one has done something awful. So there's a prayer for them as well, as long as they didn't know about it and help with it. Of course, if they knew about it and helped with it, well, forget it. But so not only for the victims, but the victims' families, the perpetrators' families, the innocent ones, and also for any of you, all of us who ever feel lost in one way or another, through various reasons. Christmas is coming. Christmas is a good time for some people every year. It's a good time for some people. I've had good Christmases. I've had bad Christmases. I've had bloody awful Christmases. I've had fabulous Christmases. Christmas is a time where you feel, however you're feeling, whether it's good or bad, you feel it more at Christmas. So, the candles as well are for anyone who's feeling lost, in the sense that there's people out there are dreading Christmas for various ways, because they've lost someone, or lost a pet, or they've got financial problems, mental health problems, physical illness problems. You know, there will be lots of people out there that Christmas will not be something to be looked forward to. So those candles are for them as well. You know, we just, if we're fortunate enough to be looking forward to Christmas and we're going to spend it with loved ones, we're lucky, we are lucky, and we need to appreciate that, don't we? Okay, so that's the candles. What's the next? I've got this list of things. Let me just have a look at that one to talk about before I even start and talking about the cases. Oh, yes. So if you're a member of my channel this year for Christmas, I'm saying thank you to my members by sending them a copy of my Confessions of a Spanish Teacher book. Let's have a look at it. I think I've prepared it. Yeah, so this is the book that tells you about my early life, the reasons why I ended up living in Spain, the reasons that I'm interested in true crime, etc. Now, I know a lot of you do have this book already. I know that, and thank you everyone that's bought it. If you're a member and you don't have the book, I will send it to you for Christmas, for a Christmas present. Through Amazon, but so you have to give me some sort of address. It doesn't have to be your address. It could be a post office box, PO box. It could be, you know, a collection point if you've got a shop nearby or a place nearby or a relative or a friend. If you don't want to give your actual address, give me their address. But no, sorry, I'm only joking. But it's just I've got to send it somewhere because it goes from Amazon. But anyway, it can be sent anywhere. There are probably collection points near your area. If you tell me the area where you are, there may be a collection point. But of course, it's got to go somewhere. And if you already have this book, I will, you know, and you're a member, I will send you something special for Christmas, sort of connected to Vicky Marie Chats. So, but what you have to do, of course, is email me and let me know where I can send these things to. Okay, and a few people have already contacted me and said yes, please. And if you have already contacted me and given me a place to send the items to, I will have already. I'm up to date with what I've sent off, so it's all already sent off. It'll be winging its way to you, whatever it is. What was the other? So yeah, why should you join? You know, I just want to talk to you a little bit about members. So members, there are 2 levels. Either level will get you the free copy of the book. There's a Carry On Chatting level. We have a live, exclusive live every Monday. And then there's a Let's Chat level where there's an exclusive live every second Thursday. And of course, if you're a member of Carry On Chatting, which is $4.99 a month, you can join in the other lives as well. So basically, if you're a member of Carry On Chatting, it's about 6 exclusive lives a week. You get to use the members emojis. And let me just show you, actually, that's the other thing I wanted to show you. Because I think sometimes, so don't forget, there's lots of videos on my channel. If you're ever stuck for anything to watch and I haven't had a new video out, I want to show you these. Are these the members ones? Yeah. So these are the members' lives. These are only available. These videos are only available to members. You know, these are the videos over the last couple of weeks. The last one we did was a true crime chat on Monday. The one before that, we did this members live about this closet narcissist who's on YouTube. We've done things about Hannah and Nadine Dorris of all people. You know, we do all sorts of different things. We've done about UFOs. There's a special video on there that somebody put together, a special song for me, for my members. So those are some of the latest members videos, apart from actually being there. And if you can't actually join in the lives for whatever reason, you can then watch them. You can watch them on catch up if you're a member. So yeah, so if you want to join, I've probably put the link somewhere, but it's on my channel anyway. If you want to join and get your Christmas present. Right, where else am I? Yeah, because I want to say thank you to my members, because it is the members that keep this channel going in more ways than financially. Just like if I get fed up, it's always my members that I would worry about letting down if I ever decided not to do my channel anymore, because you know that they've got to know each other and they enjoy the chats, etc. So you know, it is the members definitely, I think, keep not only my channel going, but I think probably most people who, you know, there are a few channels that they offer the memberships, but they don't offer anything for the memberships, and they wonder why they haven't got any members. Well, the thing is, you know, you do have to offer something for the membership, of course. But I think the most important thing my members enjoy is chatting to each other. I don't even think it's about me. I think it's about them. They like coming on the members' streams and chatting and stuff like that. So, yeah. Okay, so that was the next thing I wanted to tell you about. So let me put that down. Hang on. Yeah, because you end up with all these windows open and I have to put them down when I've finished with them, because otherwise I can't find the one that I'm talking about I need. Right, finish with that one. Okay, so I'm going to say hello to everyone now, and then I'm going to get going with talking about the first subject. Hi, David. Hi, Kelly. Hi, Angel. Hi, Lorna. Hi, Laurie. I said it, Kelly. Kelly, you've not got your decorations up yet. Not got your decorations up. It's no, once you get into December, you're allowed to put them up. Maybe you've not had time. Oh, look, David, bar humbug. Leave it until next year. I bet yours are up, David, aren't you? Because you've got young people in your household. Hi, Katrina. Good morning. Hi, Laurie. I think I've already said hello to Laurie, but I forget who I've said hello to. All part of life's journey. It certainly is. Morning, Matthew. Thank you for saying, oh, that's very kind. Thank you. Hi, Junior. You know, Vanessa, I'm going to talk a little bit about Greg to start off with. Greg. But Vanessa, sorry, Vanessa. I get a bit annoyed with Vanessa because she came out about the Rolf Harris thing as well. And now she's coming out with all this again. She should have said something before. That's twice now. After someone's been accused of something, she's suddenly coming out and saying, oh, yeah, Greg. You know, Vanessa is not beholden to Greg for her income, for anything. So Vanessa should have spoken out, because it's people that are vulnerable that are scared to speak out because they're a bit sort of wary if they haven't got much power in the media world. But you know, Vanessa's been around for ages. And why does she just jump on the bandwagon every time? Who's going to be next? And she's going to come out and say, oh, yeah, actually, they said something to me, or I know something about them. No, Vanessa sort of annoys me, to be honest. Okay. But I'm not saying it's not correct what she said. It probably is correct. But at the end of the day, why didn't she say something before? Like, why didn't she say something before about Rolf Harris? Anyway, talking of Greg, it's his fault as well. The other thing that I blame Greg for is for me breaking my diet, because we were talking so much about Greg's, because he spells his name with a double G, and I was wanting a Greg sausage roll. I don't even like the sausage rolls, really. There are places where I live in Spain where you can get Greg's products. There's no Greg's bakeries, but there's like places that sell sort of Tesco products, and they sell Greg's pastries. Anyway, the trouble is this morning I didn't have time to go all that because it's quite far away. The place that sells them, and I just didn't have time before classes. So I went to a more local supermarket and they had these. So I've had to settle for a pucker sausage roll rather than a Gregor's sausage roll. So that's my lunch. I hope I enjoy it because it's just that I'm easily led that I fancied a sausage roll. I'm not even really like sausage roll, but because I've been talking about it for so long, I was thinking, oh, I fancy a sausage roll for lunch. So there you go. That's my lunch, but it's pucker, not Gregor's. So we're going to have a look at a video of someone else who's come out talking about Greg. And then we're going to look at a video that somebody sent me today. They know who they are. They're here in chat at the moment. It's up to them if they want to say who they are, about, safety of women in public spaces. And this is going to, this whole thing with Gregor Gugger is going to start off this massive debate. I don't know if it'll make any difference whatsoever, but, women are not safe in public spaces. Women can't go jogging. We see that with Laken Riley, Samantha Murphy in Australia, Laken Riley in America. There'll have been loads here in the UK, not that I'm in the UK, but in Spain, UK, it's all over the world. It's not just an American thing. It's not just an Australian thing. Women are not safe alone in remote public spaces, or even if you look at Rachel Nickell, the Rachel Nickell case from years ago, she was on Wimbledon Common, a place that's frequented by many, many people. It doesn't even have to be a secluded place. And I find now I'm really absolutely so conscious of it. I mean, when I was young, I don't think I was conscious of it at all, because when you're young, you don't think too much about things, and then as you get older and you hear, what happens is you hear about things. So like my son will say to me, oh, you worry about everything, but it's because I've got to this age now where I know that things have happened to people. So you can get a little bit over paranoid about it, of course, and especially in this day and age, because we get to hear about all the things that happen all over the world. And it makes us think that it's happening every 5 minutes, which it probably isn't. We had the dog walker recently, didn't we? Anita Rose, who, went for a walk early in the morning and was bashed over the head and had her belongings stolen. Women will always be more vulnerable just because they are women, and and children. If it's a man who's a perpetrator, he's more likely to do it to a woman than a man, because of the strength, depending on the woman, how strong she looks, etc. Or there's lots of different sort of factors involved. But I can remember lots of instances really when I was young, because when I was younger I was always a bit bolshev, like I wouldn't think about my safety before speaking out, let's put it that way. Outspoken, sometimes I think, oh God. I remember having an argument with a neighbour about, when I say neighbour, it wasn't my neighbour, it was about parking. It was at my mum and dad's house, and had I parked in front of his? I can't remember if I'd parked in front of his house or he'd parked in front of our house. It was, so obviously there's always a lot of problems about arguments about parking. And this guy, he was older than me. I was very young then. I was only in my early 20s, but he was a great big guy, maybe in his 40s, 50s. And he really he called me a little shit. I remember that. He called me a little shit, and this, that, and the other. And then my boyfriend at the time came to the front door of my mum and dad's house, and I wouldn't mind, but the neighbour was in more danger from me than he was from him. But he was, 6'4" or something like that, and he looked the part. He just wasn't a fighter at all. But this guy saw him, and as soon as he saw him, and it was a man, and he was tall and he was broad, he went, all right, it's okay, never mind, sorry, no problem, and off he went. And he said, he said, oh God, when I saw him come out, I don't want any trouble. He's going. So I didn't mind calling me a little shit and having a go at me and coming up to me in my face. But because I'm only 5'2" and just a silly little woman. But when he saw my boyfriend, it was like, oh my God, he didn't want to get into an argument with him. So, you know, it's time immemorial, this sort of thing, isn't it? I suppose it's almost survival of the fittest or whatever. You know, women are always going to be more vulnerable than men in general. I mean, some men are vulnerable. I mean, it does happen to men too. I'm not saying it never does. It does, of course. And some women are scary as anything. But in general, and things like, yeah, if you went to like here in Spain, I would go to a bar on my own and sit and have a drink and something to eat. I wouldn't worry about being on my own. It's a whole different atmosphere here. But, you know, in the UK, going into a pub on your own as a woman, you're a bit fair game, aren't you? You're like, you know, you're just trying to, men go into pubs on their own all the time, read the paper, have a beer, bit peace and quiet. And a woman can't seem to do that. And the men think that she's there because she wants to be chatted up or wants someone talking to her. You don't always want someone talking to you. In fact, I rarely do. You know, I don't go into, if I wanted to talk to someone, I'd go online probably. I wouldn't go in a pub to talk to someone. I'd go into the pub to have a nice quiet drink, maybe read the paper or read my Twitter or whatever. Anyway, you know what I mean. I bet there's not many of you women out there who haven't had that experience of a man thinking that you're just sat there waiting for someone like them to come and talk to you. And that's okay because they don't know it at first. But the thing is, if someone comes up and starts talking to you and you make it clear that you don't want to talk, they should just go away then. But some don't. And we're going to watch, someone sent me a video that's just come out on ITV News that tells us about that. You know, respect people's personal space. You know when you speak to someone whether they want to talk to you or not. If they want to talk to you, they will. And if they don't, you know, just respect that they don't. You know, that's all there is to it. So I've got into a rant now and got sidetracked. So let me show you first the video about Greg. So somebody else has come out and this is quite, I think, you know, I don't see how he would get away with this, you know, how he's going to get away with this comment. So this is a former MasterChef contestant, Jackie Kearney. Let's have a listen to what she's got to say.
I just published my second book and I was feeling really proud of it. And I wanted to give John and Greg a copy of my book. I came into the studio and was like, oh, hi, Greg. I've got something for you. And he said, oh, is it a present for my cock? And gave that whole sort of mansplay towards me. And I was so...
Is it a present for my cock? Oh, my God. And this mansplay expression, he did this mansplay thing towards me. I find that a really good expression.
So shocked. I actually stopped. I was walking across the studio and I stopped right in my tracks. And I felt like I wanted the ground to swallow me up. It felt like the humiliation and embarrassment. So I very quickly walked over and put the book down next to him and didn't really say anything and was like, oh, there it is, and walked off as quickly as possible and went to the toilets and cried because...
Oh, because this lady, she was a contestant on MasterChef. So you can understand why she didn't say anything, because she would feel very intimidated by the actual hosts of the programme. You know, I think sometimes as well, it's how you deal with things. I think I would have been tempted to give him a copy of my book and write in for, this is for you, Greg, seeing as you're a cock or something like that. You know, but that's somewhere I may be a bit stronger than that and like say, you know, saying here, you know, I hope your cock enjoys this book, Greg, or something like that. But she, you know, everybody's different, you know, it's how you deal with it as well. You can't expect some people are stronger than others. I mean, he'll probably turn around and say, oh, it's just a bit of banter. I'm from London. That's the banter that we have in London. You know, but you can see that for someone, is it you're saying to someone, oh, I've got something for you, and they say, oh, is it for my cock? You know, unless you're quite a strong person who's dealt, you know, I've worked with men all my life, and I've worked in betting shops. I've worked in the roughest betting shops with the roughest, you know, most of my customers were on Crime Watch. That's how rough they were in the north of England. So I've dealt with people like that, you know, who would say things. Oh, there's a lot of those experiences in my book, but a lot of them I couldn't put in my book. But, you know, this is why in the betting shops in Manchester, they put women in the rough shops, because women can sometimes deal with it better, because the men would get stabbed or beaten up round the back of the betting shop. I'm not laughing because it's funny, it's a hysteria. So quite often they put women in there because women, you know, if they know how to deal with it, not all women can deal with it. Of course, some women can't. I don't even know how I could, but you get put in these shops because they know that you can. And also there's something about even though these men from, you know, these rough areas in Manchester, they're quite respectful of women, funnily enough, of, you know, if of strong women. It's really weird. It's like the more sort of, if you're not strong, they don't treat you very well. But if you're strong, they respect it. It must be like a matriarchal thing. I don't even know what it is, and sometimes I've been in those betting shops and I've had to stand up for myself, and inside I've been shaking, terrified, but I would know you can never let them see it, because once you let them see it, that's it. So I'm not saying it's right, I'm just saying that's the way it is. So God knows what's happening in those betting shops now in these woke days or whatever. I've just no idea how that's getting coped with. But so this poor woman, she's walked in with a copy of it. She's proud. She's written a book. She wants to give a copy to Greg and the other guy who presents it, and he's turned around and said, she said, is that I've got a present for you? And he said, is it for my cock? Well, come on. It's not very nice, is it? Hi, Dottie. I just say hello to people who've come in that I might have missed. Hi, Heather. If I've missed anyone coming in, because once I start talking, I do sort of forget to look at the chat, but I think I've caught everybody. And hello to everyone listening, watching at home, of course, and hello to anyone watching on catch up. Let's just watch the end of this, then we'll watch it one more time. Oh.
It was the humiliation. The tears were about feeling humiliated, feeling small, feeling made to feel less than. There is no way that other people haven't been hearing these innuendos constantly throughout filming and throughout his time, and that it's been put down to lad culture. It's been put down to banter. But banter doesn't make somebody, if it's just banter and it's fun, then why am I crying in the toilets?
Joe, I think the BBC, they must have this stop letter, because it seems like, you know, every 5 minutes they're having to put out a letter about someone, aren't they? You know, there's always something going on. It was Hugh Edwards, then there was the sports presenter, is it Jermaine, somebody, I can't remember his name. That's the end of it. I can't even remember who he is already. There's been a few, haven't there, lately? Russell Brand, of course. So, you know, the BBC must just have this sort of, it's just copy and paste, isn't it, for them? Copy and paste, change the name. So they said, oh, how can I read that? Oh, no, it went too quick. So Banijay is the company that does MasterChef. They say they take it incredibly seriously. Let's just watch that one more time from the beginning.
Just published my second book, and I was feeling really proud of it. And I wanted to give John and Greg a copy of my book. I came into the studio and was like, "Oh, hi, Greg. I've got something for you." And he said, "Oh, is it a present for my cock?" And gave that whole sort of mansplay towards me.
Do you know what I mean? It's like, that is more than banter, isn't it? That is much more than banter. And as I say, I think I would give him the book written on the inside of it. Hope your cock enjoys this book, Greg, or you're a cock, hope you enjoy it, something like that.
Me. And I was so shocked. I actually stopped. I was walking across the studio and I stopped right in my tracks. And I felt like I wanted the ground to swallow me up. It felt like the humiliation and embarrassment. So I very quickly walked over and put the book down next to him and didn't really say anything and was like, "Oh, there it is," and walked off as quickly as possible. Went to the toilets and cried because it was the humiliation. The tears were about feeling humiliated, feeling small, feeling made to feel less than. There is no way that other...
Because the thing is, yeah, you wouldn't know what to say, really. In the situation she was in, where she was a contestant, and he was one of the presenters of the show. I mean, really, he's co-presenter. No wonder he's cut him off, because he's really, to me, he's co-presenter. When he said that, he should have turned around to him and called him out on that, and because that is more than banter. You know, he should have turned around to him and said, "Hey, hang on a minute, you shouldn't say that." But he didn't, did he? Everyone's indulged Greg for years. And now they're all up in arms about it, saying, "Oh, it's terrible," but they never said anything, you know. And this woman, she felt shitty at the time, and now she feels emboldened to say something because other people have said something. It's hard to be the first person to say something if you're not in any position of power or whatever. And the other thing I would say, because I've noticed on Twitter and things like that, there are quite a lot of men going, oh, making a big fuss about nothing. Well, I'll tell you what, if you wouldn't mind then that your mother was spoken to like that, or your wife, or your girlfriend, your daughter, your auntie, your niece, what you're saying is, if it was someone that you knew, you know, who was talked to like that, if your wife came home and said, "Oh, I gave Greg Wallace a copy of my book," and he said, "Oh, is it a present for my cock?" If you're really saying that you wouldn't mind if your wife, if it happened to your wife, your mother, your sister, your aunt, your daughter, or your niece, okay, fair enough. Yeah, fair enough. If you really don't care, let's send someone round to your loved one's house to make those sort of comments. So, you know, this is it. Like, oh, it's all, you know, it's just banter. These the men that are saying it, not all men are saying it, of course. They don't mean what they mean is it's all right as long as it's not anyone who's anything to do with me. It's like, yeah, oh well, you know, she shouldn't have said, she should know better. She should be grateful to have a flirty comment from Greg Wallace. You know, just imagine if it was someone you knew.
The people haven't been hearing these innuendos constantly throughout filming and throughout his time, and that it's been put down to lad culture. It's been put down to banter. But banter doesn't make somebody, if it's just banter and it's fun, then why am I crying in the toilets?
So that's one of the latest accusations. And I agree with you, David. It is karma. She can sit back now, you know, and there's part of me that does feel a bit sorry for Greg. I would feel sorry for anyone who's been humiliated publicly, anybody. But it is like a karma, isn't it? All the things he's said over the years, he's got away with it over the years. And he's not getting away with it now. So it's difficult to feel sorry for him. And especially when he came out and made that comment about the middle-aged women of a certain age. You know, that just shows to me that is how he looks upon women. You know, unless they're young and attractive, they're not even worth, you know, they should just be grateful for his attentions. So anyway, so following on from that, I mean, I think every day now, to be honest, there'll be things coming out about Gregor Wallace. but the other thing that somebody sent me, let's find it, was this. So things are going to, people, the good thing about this is people are going to start talking about these kind of things. And anytime these things are talked about is always a good thing. Okay. So, you know, if it brings a public discussion about what is banter, what isn't, you know, because you know what, I was thinking, I've been thinking about that a lot because, you know, I do like a bit of banter, and, you know, being from Manchester, our sense of humour is very sarcastic, it's very cutting, you know, and I did notice that when I moved to Reading, they got no sense of humour. No, not that they got no sense of humour, but it's completely different. And if you try and be sort of use this sarcastic Mancunian humour, they really take offence. You know, I've had people put the phone down on me because I was making a joke. You know, that's Northern humour, is sarcastic. It is sort of like, you know, but then, so I started thinking, well, how do you know the difference? The trouble is, where is the line? Where is the line between banter and between offence? You know, it's difficult because I think we sort of got to a point where we're terrified of saying anything. And I don't think that's good either. The only person who gets away with it is Ricky Gervais, isn't it? He says what the hell he wants and everybody laughs. He doesn't say anything politically correct, does he? You know, he just says what he feels like, and he just seems to get away with it, whereas other people can't get away with it. I mean, he is funny, of course, as well, but I suppose some people don't like him or whatever. But I think it has made comedy difficult because, you know, you don't want to offend people. Obviously, you don't want to be cancelled. You know, comedians don't want to be cancelled, but they want to be funny. So where's the line? And I was trying to think about it and thinking, well, where is the line? What would upset me if somebody said it to me? And what wouldn't upset me if somebody said it to me? And you know what? It is difficult, but the only thing I thought, you know, sometimes it's just how it feels. So weird, isn't it? You know, I personally think you know the difference when somebody says something to you. It's the feeling that it gives you. Sometimes somebody can say something to you, and immediately you're bristling because you just get that, or I do anyway, just like a feeling off that person. It's quite icky and thing. And yet another person can say exactly the same thing, and you just don't get that feeling because you know, or I feel it's coming from a different place. You know, it's not coming from a place where it's meant to be offensive or it's meant to be icky or, you know, coming on to me or whatever. It's a genuine sort of joke or, you know, there's no real sexual thing in it. It's just banter. Whereas when some people say things, straight away it puts you right on your guard because I think you know that there's more to it. You know, that person, you know, and I've experienced this many, many times. And sometimes it's so hard to put your finger on, but you just literally know when someone means something bad or not. It's just a feeling that comes over you. It's like, oh, you know, you straight away on your guard, or somebody else says something and it's like you don't get that feeling. One thing I don't like from anyone, unless it's my partner, is people touching me. Hate people touching me. You know, when they come up and they like put the clap, and that's men and women. Don't like people in my personal space like that. Don't come up to me and hug me or you know, put your hand on my shoulder, or don't touch me in any way, shape or form unless you're actually my partner. That's how or even friends, I don't really like that. It's just not me. It's just the way I am. You know, I loved it during COVID in a way because you had the meter space. Because even sometimes in the supermarket, people come up and sort of, you know, touch you, brush against you, or and you're like, ooh, you know, get your meter distance. You know, I'd wear one of those crinoline skirts, you know, or I'd like to wear a big plastic bubble so that people couldn't actually come within a meter of me. I mean, it makes me sound like I'm not loving, or I am loving, and that in the right circumstances. But I don't like strangers putting their arm around me or touching my shoulder, or you know, and as I say, even women, you know, you get these people. I think I've told this story before. I was at funnily enough, it was just before COVID. I was at a birthday party and was sat next to this woman, and every time she was talking to me, she kept whacking me on the shoulder. It's like that Friends episode, you know, with Joey, where that little girl like whacks him. Well, not little girl, the woman whacks him on the shoulder when she's laughing, and he's getting really annoyed. That's how I felt. So every time she was talking to me, she kept going like that, whacking me on the shoulder. And in the end, after about the third time, I said to her, "Look, don't do that again," because I just had to. I thought, I'm going to punch her in a minute. If she whacks me on the arm again, I'm literally going to punch her or something. If I don't say, you know, better to say something. So I said, "Look, sorry, but you just can't do that to me. I don't like it when you do that. Please don't punch me in the arm when you're laughing or whatever." Oh, well, she got the right arm. She was like, oh, well, you know, you could tell that nobody had ever said anything to her before. Bet loads of people had got annoyed about it, but just hadn't said anything. And, well, that's it. Not only she stopped hitting me on the shoulder, she stopped talking to me completely, but to be honest, it was a relief. But, yeah, why do people do that? You can't go. And I had a friend who used to do it. So they'd be talking to you. And when they'd be trying to tell you something and they wanted to say what they wanted to say, and you'd start to say something, they would actually get your hand and hold your hand down. So it's like, shut up, I'm talking. You know, you can't have an opinion at the moment. I'm in full flow. So anyway, she used to do this to me all the time. And in the end, I did it to her one time. I was talking and she started talking, because we do, you know, as women like to talk, don't they? And, you know, you do talk over each other sometimes. So she started talking when I was talking. So I got a hand and did exactly the same thing, and I put my two hands on it. Oh, God, she got all thinking it was like she was pulling her hand away and everything. So because what I found in life is people don't like you doing what they do to them generally. You know, they do all these things. You do it. That's the best way to stop someone doing something that you don't like. Do it back to them, and they'll just stop speaking to you completely. Anyway, so let's watch this. So this is an interview that somebody sent me, or a clip that somebody sent me. And this was an interview about women feeling unsafe in public spaces. And as they were actually filming this, a guy came up and got in their space. It's just surreal.
Jill's describing how a family night out ended in a violent brawl when a stranger tried to sexually assault her daughter.
He said something, I couldn't quite hear what he said, raised his hand and went to slap Beth on her bottom, which I managed to sort of block. I asked him not to do that. He said he was just having a laugh, just having a joke, and went to do it again when I blocked him again. I asked him not to do that. I was like, this is my daughter, please don't do that. And in fact, don't touch any other woman like that in the club either. It's just not acceptable. And then he went to do it again. So at which point the bouncer had come round and asked him to leave, and the violence just escalated right up from there. It was quite scary, I have to say, being trapped.
This is when a stranger interrupts the interview.
Hi. Sorry, love, we're just doing this thing for this charity. Can you give us 5 minutes?
He refuses to leave so we can carry on filming. So for the safety of everyone involved, we leave.
It's so ironic.
The report we're trying to film is about a campaign to create more safe spaces for women.
Is everyone okay?
Yes.
Oh, it's a bit of a shock.
Just a bit.
Well, it's ironic, isn't it, that we were doing a piece about safe spaces for women, and we were filming on a park bench in the middle of the day in Birkenhead, and we had to move because we didn't feel safe when that man came up to us and started threatening and intimidating us.
Absolutely, yeah. I was starting to get a little bit scared, to be honest, because I wasn't sure, having experienced what we experienced a few weeks ago, what was going to happen and how that was going to escalate. So I was already sort of safety planning really quickly, which you don't think you should have to when you're coming out into a public area.
You could just tell the lack of respect when it came to people in general in their personal space, but to women in general, he just had no respect whatsoever.
Jill and Beth believe it's this type of behaviour that can make women feel unsafe in public spaces.
Do you think as women we're almost programmed to be on our guard on a night out?
Absolutely, yeah. Majority of the time, it's not women going and harassing men. It's not women that are potentially going to spike your drink. It's not women that are getting aggressive towards the men, because it is stereotypically the other way around. And I know obviously it can happen, but they're not subjected to it like us women are, and we do just want to go out and enjoy. So if we can go somewhere where we know we're not going to get subjected to that attention and behaviour, then we're going to want that. We're going to push for that.
Donna doesn't go out in the evenings anymore. The mother of 3 was sexually assaulted on a night out last year.
I just keep on thinking about it all the time. I try not to, but it just comes to my head.
How has what happened affected you?
I won't go out anymore. I stay in all the time now. I just come down to Smothers Women, do the garden. I don't go out at night time now. I just get worried about men now. I'll speak to them, but I won't speak to them on my own. I've got to be with a few people. I only trust women.
Research by the charity Tomorrow's Women found 82% of women don't feel safe in bars and clubs. In response, they've decided to hold a series of women's-only club nights.
So many women don't.
Yeah, and I think it's important as well. This is something I've talked about before. It doesn't matter who the woman is. Doesn't matter how old they are. Doesn't matter if they fit conventional stereotypes of what's attractive, what isn't attractive. Any woman can be attacked, assaulted. Doesn't matter their age. Doesn't matter. This is something that people have got to get out of their heads. You know, it just being vulnerable just because of being a woman, regardless of age, regardless of anything else. And, you start remembering, don't you, all times. And I just remember another time many years ago when I was in Reading, I'd been working at the race courses, I'd been dropped off at like a bar in Reading, and I was waiting for my partner to come and pick me up. He was going to be 10 minutes. So I had a drink, I got a drink, I sat at the table, at a table, and these two guys came and sat at my table. And one of them said to me, "Oh, what are you doing here?" You know, like as if, I maybe thought I was a prostitute or something because I was sat in a bar on my own. I don't know. And I just said, "Oh, I'm waiting for my partner to come and pick me up." He went, "Oh, yeah, are you?" Like that, really sarcastic. "What time's he coming, love?" He goes. So I said, "Oh, well, about 10 minutes he'll be here." And that anyway, he was talking on, and then he said, so I think 10 minutes went by. He must have been watching it. He must have had a fucking stopwatch or something. 10 minutes went by and he said, "Are you sure your boyfriend's coming for you, love?" He's got, and they were really starting to scare me a bit because there was 2 of them for a start. And it was like he thought I was waiting for someone to pick me up, or like not my partner, but literally. Now that wouldn't happen to a man, would it? They wouldn't go up to a man who sat on his own in a bar and say, "Oh, what are you doing here, love?" Anyway, luckily at that moment, my partner just walked in. I just couldn't wait to get out of there. I said, "Oh, here's my partner now," and this guy just sort of looked. And I didn't tell my partner about it until we got home because I thought he's going to go back in there and he's probably going to beat the shit out of him. So I didn't want him to get into trouble. But yeah, why shouldn't I be able to go and sit in a... Now here, as I say, here in Spain, I don't feel that at all. I've gone out loads of times on my own, or took my little, when he was a little boy, taking him out or whatever we see. Because here the bars are different. You tend to have something to eat as well here. They're not just like pubs. I don't know, it just feels different. It's a different atmosphere. I can't explain it. Sitting inside or outside, I never feel that threatened feeling. I would easily go out in a bar on my own, get a drink, sit at a table and read a paper, or I don't know, on my phone or whatever. But I don't know if that's just because I don't care now because I'm older, or if that's because I think it is genuinely a different atmosphere here. In the UK, people go out to get drunk, don't they? And so you do bump into a lot of people who've drank too much or taken too many drugs, or a combination of both.
Feel safe going out at night. They don't feel safe being in bars or clubs. They've experienced harassment. They can't go out and have just a good night out without worrying about things like this. So it's so important that we have these types of events where women can go out and enjoy themselves.
Someone could have had the drink spiked, been sexually assaulted. And I think by creating a women's only night, we're ensuring safety and ensuring that they can just go out and have a good time.
But the charities had to deal with a backlash on social.
Now, I can understand why they want these women's only nights, because women, even women, when they're in relationships, they still want to go out with their mates. They're not looking. Why do a lot of men think, not all men, and I've got to keep reminding people of this, not all men, I know that, but it's up to men to call out men who do it. Men, you get that sort of, it's happened to me many times when I was younger. A man will come up and try and chat you up, and you give him the blank, if you like. And he turns to his mate and says, "Oh, it's lesbian. She's lesbian." Honestly, that is genuinely how a lot of men think. It's like, because you're not interested in them, you must be gay. But no, it's just you're ugly. No, I'm not interested in you, or I'm already I'm already in a relationship. Just because you're in a relationship, you still want to go out with your mates. You still want to go out and dance and have a good time. And that's why and when I was in Manchester, when I was in relationships, I had a lot of gay male friends. It was great. We used to go Sackville Street, down the gay village, and you're so, as a woman in the gay village, you're so you can dance, you can have a good time, you don't have to worry about someone giving you hassle and that. So it's nice. Now, women only nights out, again, brilliant. I think it's a good idea. I think there should be women only parks and women only everything. You should be able to take your dog to the park without worrying if someone's going to attack you. And if the only way to do that is if you've got a park where men aren't allowed in, I think you should have him. That's what I think. Why should women be the prisoners? Why should women be the prisoners? These women frightened of going out at night. But they haven't done anything wrong. Or in the day, frightened of going out in the day, frightened to go to remote areas. And then people say things like, "Oh, well, they shouldn't have been in that remote area on their own." Well, why not? Should be able to go anywhere you like.
Social media.
We've had so many hateful comments from men. I think all those comments just show the reason that we're doing the event. They're very much proving our point. So, we have created a safe space for women to enjoy themselves, have a good night out, and comments like that are just proving the desperate need for us to do this event.
The charity says the event's a starting point, providing a safe space for women to socialise. But the end goal for everyone should be to eliminate the fear so many women feel in public spaces.
Right, we'll watch that just one more time. I'm just going to have a little bathroom break, actually, while I'll put that on for you again.
Describing how a family night out ended in a violent brawl when a stranger tried to sexually assault her daughter.
He said something, I couldn't quite hear what he said, raised his hand and went to slap Beth on her bottom, which I managed to sort of block. I asked him not to do that. He said he was just having a laugh, just having a joke, and went to do it again when I blocked him again. I asked him not to do that. I was like, "This is my daughter, please don't do that. And in fact, don't touch any other woman like that in the club either." It's just not acceptable. And then he went to do it again. So at which point The bouncer had come round and asked him to leave, and the violence just escalated right up from there. It was quite scary, I have to say, being trapped.
This is when a stranger interrupts the interview.
Sorry, love, we're just doing this thing for this charity. Can you give us 5 minutes?
He refuses to leave so we can carry on filming. So for the safety of everyone involved, we leave.
It's so ironic.
The report we're trying to film is about a campaign to create more safe spaces for women.
Is everyone okay?
Yes,
It's a bit of a shock.
just a bit.
Well, it's ironic, isn't it, that we were doing a piece about safe spaces for women, and we were filming on a park bench in the middle of the day in Birkenhead, and we had to move because we didn't feel safe when that man came up to us and started threatening and intimidating us.
Absolutely, yeah. I was starting to get a little bit scared, to be honest, because I wasn't sure, having experienced what we experienced a few weeks ago, what was going to happen and how that was going to escalate. And so I was already sort of safety planning really quickly, which you don't think you should have to when you're coming out into a public area.
You could just tell the lack of respect when it came to people in general in their personal space, but to women in general, he just had no respect whatsoever.
Jill and Beth believe it's this type of behaviour that can make women feel unsafe in public spaces.
Do you think as women we're almost programmed to be on our guard on a night out?
Absolutely, yeah. Majority of the time, it's not women going and harassing men. It's not women that are potentially going to spike your drink. It's not women that are getting aggressive towards the men, because it is stereotypically the other way around. And I know obviously it can happen, but they're not subjected to it like us women are. And we do just want to go out and enjoy. So if we can go somewhere where we know we're not going to get subjected to that attention and behaviour, then we're going to want that. We're going to push for that.
Donna doesn't go out in the evenings anymore. The mother of 3 was sexually assaulted on a night out last year.
I just keep on thinking about it all the time. I try not to, but just comes to my head.
How has what happened affected you?
I won't go out anymore. I stay in all the time now. I just come down to Smorgasburg women, do the garden. I don't go out at night time now. I just get worried about men now. I'll speak to them, but I won't speak to them on my own. I've got to be with a few people. I only trust women.
Research by the charity Tomorrow's Women found 82% of women don't feel safe in bars and clubs. In response, they've decided to hold a series of women's only club nights.
So many women don't feel safe going out at night. They don't feel safe being in bars or clubs. They've experienced harassment. They can't go out and have just...
Imagine 82% of women not feeling safe in bars and clubs. 82%. I mean, that's massive, isn't it? Absolutely massive amount.
A good night out without worrying about things like this. So it's so important that we have these types of events where women can go out and enjoy themselves.
Someone could have had the drink spiked, been sexually assaulted. And I think by creating a women's only night, we're ensuring safety and ensuring that they can just go out and have a good time.
But the charity's had to deal with a backlash on social media.
We've had so many hateful comments from men. I think all those comments just show the reason that we're doing the event. They're very much proving our point. So, you know, we have created a safe space for women to enjoy themselves, have a good night out, and comments like that are just proving the desperate need for us to do this event.
The charity says the event's a starting point, providing a safe space for women to socialise. But the end goal for everyone should be to eliminate the fear so many women feel in public spaces.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'm not sure why they did blur his face out, because at the end of the day, they should have shown who he was. Now, I'm going to say something maybe a little bit controversially, but some of it is women's own fault, because you do get some women who go out and behave outrageously. I've been on flights from, when all the women are going on the bloody Benidorm hen nights and things. they're just obnoxious themselves. So women can be obnoxious. I'm not saying that they can't. I'm not blaming it all on men, but unfortunately, women who act like that, they spoil it for women who don't want to act like that. I've got friends who act like that when they're out there. They're from London, funnily enough, and I'll go out with them and I've had to say to them, they probably think I'm really miserable, but say, don't try and involve me in everything. Because it's like, oh, come on, and they try and grab you and get you up to dance. And I love dancing, but I'll dance when I feel like dancing, not when someone's telling me to dance. I don't want to be made to be happy. It's like, if I want, sometimes I like to sit and watch what's going on. I'm a people watcher. Sometimes I don't want to join in all the stuff, so just, I know I'm a pain in the ass, but that's how I am. So sometimes, but I've seen them sometimes the way they behave with men, maybe, sometimes women can be their own worst enemies, but the way women behave sometimes means that, but men should, just like I can't think that all men are like some men are, men should not think that all women are like that either. Do you know what I mean? So, the thing is, and I get what you're saying, David, you go out with your mates and I'm sure you have a great time. I love having a bit of banter with some guys. Guys are fun to go out with. I love going out with guys, to be honest. But there's a difference between when it is banter. You definitely know the difference between banter and creepiness. As a woman, that you can feel it. And the thing is, if you try, for my advice to a man would just be, if you try and talk to a woman, of course you don't want to, you can't, men like talking to women. I mean, that's just the way of the world, isn't it? Men like women and, that's just how it is. But if you try and make a conversation with a woman and it's obvious she doesn't really want to talk to you, you just have to let it go. Not say she must be a lesbian because she don't like you, or, some of the things that men say. But, so it's just having that little bit of nous, isn't it? To know when someone doesn't want to talk to you and leave them to it. But yeah, sometimes, God, if I went out and I've been to Benidorm a few times. Not that particularly like Benidorm, to be honest. But every now and again I like it. And I'll tell you why I like it, because they've got a lot of nightclubs there that are like the old-fashioned type discotheques like that I used to go to, and they play good music and they have good tribute bands on. And I love that. And I don't mind dancing with, if a guy asks me to dance, I'll dance with him. But as long as he realises that just because he's asked me to dance doesn't mean to say, that's it, I'm going home and I'm going to bed with him, I'm going to marry him or whatever. Just as long as he realises that when he asks me to dance, I'm just literally dancing. And then we see what happens after that, But hi, Wesley. It's just maybe when they've had too much to drink, they can't read those signs. Maybe that's... They've got this expression, isn't there, low on self-monitoring as well, when they're just not aware. If some people are just not aware of their behaviour, and I suppose if they've had a drink or they've been taking something, they're even less aware of their behaviour. I don't know, but all I know is that's right, banter. But this is what we go back to now, is where is the line between banter and harassment, really? What is the line between banter and harassment? David, the Blobs, the Yates's Wine Lodge in Manchester, that's where me and my friends used to go in the winter especially, and you get the hot Australian wine with the cloves. There's spittoons and sawdust on the floor. It used to be, but of course now it's all been jazzed up and modernised. I mean, they're fabulous bars. And Manchester's a fantastic place for a night out. It really is a fabulous, whatever age you are. There's places to go. There's fantastic bars. There's fantastic clubs. There's for every sort of music that you want. And it still is. I mean, I haven't been out in Manchester for years, I haven't said that. But a lot of my family still go out there of all different ages. They still go out in Manchester. I mean, it costs you an arm and a leg, of course, because it's quite expensive now. Because when I used to go out, we used to like all the dives. I always liked the dives. I always liked the places that were a bit rough. I've been in the Nile Club in Moss Side. I've never had any problem in there. When I was young, it's got the most terrible reputation, Moss Side. Think about these sort of the Auto Club in Manchester, which was like a speakeasy. You'd literally knock on the door. And there'd be a Swedish bouncer called Jan. He used to open the little speakeasy sort of thing and go, "What the fuck do you want?" Or make some sarcastic comment, big cigar in his mouth. And we go, "We want to come in, Jan. We want to come in for a drink." And but you know what? I never had any hassle in there. And that was full of gangsters, the Quality Street gang, who were notorious sort of Manchester gangsters. They'd buy you champagne, they'd chat to you, but they never were offensive. It's funny, isn't it, really? You go in like the roughest places that you can imagine, really. But it was the reason we used to go there is because it was open 24 hours a day, basically. So you could go in your lunch break from work, you could go at 4 o'clock in the morning, and there was a lot of characters in there, but you never saw any fighting in there. I mean, what they got up to outside there, I don't know. But actually in that club, it was a safe place to go for a woman. It really was. They never if you would have got any hassle from anyone in that club, somebody would have been over to sort that out. Like either Jan, the bouncer, the big Swedish bouncer with the foul mouth, or one of the Quality Street gang. You just get to know them. And when I say get to know them, I didn't go around their house and, that you got to know them in that setting, and there was no problems in that bar. That was probably the safest bar that you could ever go to. So I've been in some, I always like the sort of rough places, if you like, because I think you're always safer there. It's weird, really. It's very strange, very strange. I think, you used to get more hassle in the sort of the posher places, really, with the yuppies, that thought they were it because they had a bit of money, I know I should write a book about that, I think. Yeah. I actually went out with the barman from Yates's Wine Lodge in Manchester. He was my first real boyfriend, really. Yeah. Anyway, hi, Chumba. So we've had a talk about that. Gosh, that's gone on longer than I thought it would. Where am I going now? So I want to talk about, now. Oh, God, I don't know where to start because I've still got a load of things to talk about. I'm thinking maybe I'll do part 2 tonight because, how long have I been on for? I've been on for an hour, so I've got a little bit longer. What shall I talk about? Oh, yeah. So I want to talk about this. Do you remember the bodies that were found in the suitcases on Bristol Suspension Bridge? Now, I talked about this in Members the other night, but I haven't talked about it here, with subscribers, with the chatters. On Monday night, we talked about we talked about this. So I'm going to show you a bit of the video from the members on Monday night. Now, do you remember these 2 suitcases were found? Well, one suitcase was found at Bristol Suspension Bridge. And initially there was some, worry that it might be something to do with Jack O'Sullivan, who, of course, is disappeared from Bristol. I want to talk about him as well. Anyway, it wasn't him, and it was these 2 guys, wasn't it? Anyway, let's have a look at because it's coming. It won't be long now before the trial starts. I think he was supposed to appear in court not long ago, and he didn't. He didn't make an appearance, but he has appeared once. The suspect, the alleged killer. But see, now he was. Let me just show you actually, because I think I've still got the picture on here. If you ever see, he was, yeah. If you ever seen anyone who's caught out in the moment, this is the guy after he's, dropped off this suitcase. He's driven all the way from London. So the murders are thought to have happened in a house in London. He's driven all the way to Bristol to deposit a suitcase. Well, he didn't drive, he got a taxi, I think. And look, we talk about someone being caught out. So he's another thicko of thickos, a criminal mastermind who didn't realise there'd be CCTV cameras on Bristol Suspension Bridge. He's like, he's been caught. Oh, God, there's a camera there. So, of course, that's how they caught him. His name is Yostin Mosquera. He's Colombian. Looks like butter wouldn't melt there, doesn't he? Looks like such a nice guy, you know. And he murdered the two guys, a couple who were looking after him, letting him live at their house. Now, as I said on Monday, I don't know if it was a ménage de trois, if it was any sort of more than just a friendship, or, whether he was just a lodger. They were letting him stay there. But he's from Colombia. This couple, they were letting him stay at their house, and he thanked them for that by murdering them, dismembering them, and trying to dispose of one of them at Bristol Suspension Bridge. So let's just have a look at the video that I did the other day. I'll play you my video from the members live that I talked about this case. So I am wearing my pyjamas here because quite often in the members we have a slumber party and I wear my pyjamas. Oh, I'm not sharing. Speaking Colombian. So I said, oh, they speak Spanish. I said, oh, I thought they spoke Colombian. It's an easy mistake to make, isn't it? But yeah, Colombia, they speak Spanish because they were conquested by the Spanish, the conquistadores. And yeah, so his name is Spanish. Spanish is probably his first language. Now, how he's ended up with these two guys, I'm not sure. It describes him as a house guest here. So it says an alleged double killer charged with murdering two men. Oh, I'm not sharing. Not sharing again. Hang on. Gosh, I'm so selfish. I never share. Yeah, an alleged double killer charged with murdering two men after their remains were found. in 2 suitcases dumped on Bristol's Clifton Suspension Bridge will remain in custody ahead of his trial. Oh, and let me just show this photo of him. This was, he forgot there was CCTV. Look, have you ever seen anyone totally caught in the act? You know, it's like that. Ooh, there's a camera there. There's a camera there. You can tell he's probably thought, you know, he's probably one of those criminal masterminds, you know, that we get every now and again. People who think they're being really clever. Because he did this crime happened in London. He drove all the way to Bristol to deposit these remains. But you see how caught out he is there, because he forgot that there would be CCTV. I mean, criminals have got to realise these days there's not much you can get away with that won't be caught on CCTV. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, God, you know. Anyway, if you ever saw anyone look more caught out, it's him. He's practically jumping there. So, yeah, going back to what I was reading out. So further human remains were found 116 miles away at the home of Albert Alfonso, 62, and Paul Longworth, 71. I mean, it's awful, isn't it? You get to that age, you know, you just should be enjoying your retirement or whatever, or certainly Paul anyway. Alfonso might not have been, Albert might not have been retired yet. In Scots Road, Shepherd's Bush, West London, on the 12th of July. Their Colombian house guest, Justin Andres Mosquera, 34, is accused of murdering the 2 men between the 8th and the 10th of July. Oh, it won't let me read anymore. I've got to be a member. Oh, I'm not going to be a member. Court News UK. Well, I find it somewhere. I don't want to join it. Let's have a look. Yeah, so then this article that I was reading wanted me to become a member for, I think it was $17.99 or something. So anyway, I didn't do that. So really just what I wanted to tell you about this case is just to remind ourselves about it. You know, those 2 guys, you know, they deserve their story to be told. I think it must be coming up to the trial, because apparently he has appeared in court. In fact, I think I've got that video. Wait a minute. He did appear in court back on the 9th of October. He did appear in court. I must have missed that. But apparently the last time he was supposed to appear in court, he refused to appear. I don't know how these people can refuse to appear. They've got to stop this. You know, if you're supposed to be in court, you've got to appear. That's it. You don't have a choice. You know, you lost that choice when you murdered 2 guys who were trying to help you and dismembered them. You lost your choices as far as I'm concerned. Anyways, 34, and he did appear in the Old Bailey by video link from Belmarsh Prison. He's in Belmarsh Prison. That's a harsh prison, isn't it? He's a Colombian national. He wore a grey tracksuit and he spoke to confirm his identity with the help of a Spanish interpreter, because, of course, in Colombia they speak Spanish. He'll speak English, of course he will. You know, it's one of them again, isn't it? No speaking the English, but of course he does. And he was not asked to enter pleas yet. So I don't know if he's entered a plea yet or not. So yeah, it was November the 25th he was supposed to appear, but he didn't. So I've been trying to find out, you know, what happens now. I found it difficult to find out. Now, I want to show you this video from the time to show you where he disposed of, or tried to dispose of, one of the bodies. So he went all the way from London. Now, I did do a video about this. I don't know if you remember it or not, but he went all the way from London in a taxi to dispose of this suitcase. Let's have a look.
of the bridge. Didn't realise that there's fences that are it's quite difficult to do that, and also that the bridge has somebody up there all the time.
Now, police in Bristol are still hunting a suspect they're looking for after 2 suitcases containing human remains were found on Clifton Suspension Bridge. Tristan Cork is chief reporter at Bristol Live and is with us now. Morning, Tristan.
Morning, Chloe. How are you?
Good, thank you. I mean, this is such a grim story. Just tell us what we do know at the moment.
Well, there's a lot we don't know. So what we do know is that just before midnight on Wednesday night, a taxi pulled up at the Clifton Suspension Bridge on the other side of the bridge from Bristol, we believe, and a man got out lugging 2 suitcases. We're speculating that he was confronted by the staff that are there. The bridge is manned 24 hours a day, and he ran off. And the police were called. Somebody we've spoken to eyewitnesses who've said that the man was chased down the road, down a hill into the woods, and a photograph that was 2 photographs that were released by the police yesterday afternoon show a man who's obviously been kind of confronted or challenged turning, and that was taken down a lane, in a residential lane, off the bridge, sort of about 400 yards away. He ran off. He managed to escape. The police sent up helicopters. Coast Guard helicopter even went up, and he's still at large now. The police were called back at the bridge where these 2 suitcases were left, and made the grim discovery that there was human remains inside.
So bear in mind, this video is from before they caught him. They found him. They realised he was living in the same property as the 2 men. And searched that house and found further human remains. And he's in custody. He was supposed to appear in court last week, and apparently he didn't. So I don't know what the next steps are, but he'll probably say he's got mental health issues. That's what they all say. Then they go for the mental health assessment, takes another 6 months or whatever. But he'd be one of these. He's like Jose Ibarra in America and David Konobovich, the evidence will be overwhelming. He's obviously going to get found guilty, but he'll try and string it out, him and his lawyer. His lawyer's probably advising him what to do. Try and string it out as long as possible. He'll be saying he's got mental health issues. I suppose next time might say he had a blackout and he doesn't remember what happened, all sorts of things that they say. But I think, as David, said earlier, I think this definitely this is about money, I think. And maybe they did, the couple, they let him stay there, or if they didn't, if there was more of a relationship going on, well, that's their private life. That's up to them, not doing anyone any harm, but something's happened, and it sounds like they're perhaps more financially secure, and something's happened, some arguments broken out. It'll either be about love or money. Everything's about love or money, or a combination of the 2, or a lack of the 2. But he's been caught on CCTV dropping the suitcases off there. All the evidence is there at the house where he was living. So he's thicko number. Why don't he just admit what he's done? Show some compassion and say, well, yeah, I did it in a moment of madness, or I panicked. Just tell the truth and let the families know exactly what's happened. Don't be such a prat that you think nobody believes it. The evidence is overwhelming against this guy. So why doesn't he just, at least save a little bit of his soul by admitting to it?
Right. At the moment, the taxi driver was still there. The taxi was still there. The taxi driver was helping police with their inquiries. And we've obviously got some kind of murder inquiry in the most gruesome way.
Mm. Is there any idea yet of the identity of those human remains?
No, not at the moment. The police would be keeping their cards very close to their chest in terms of even just whether it's an adult or a child or a man or a woman. They wouldn't say. The post-mortem was due to take place yesterday. We've had no extra information following on from that. I imagine that the police said that their two priorities were firstly to find the man, obviously, and secondly to identify the person in the suitcases. So we've not had any updates on either of those things since yesterday evening.
And is it believed to be one person, in the remains of one person, or more than one?
I think so.
Right.
Yeah, I think so. But we haven't had that confirmed. But they just said human remains. So that is an assumption. But they haven't said it's not more than one person. You see what I mean?
Yeah, of course. And I mean, we always ask in this situation, the reaction in the community. I mean, it must just be shock, because this is just utterly horrific, and for it to happen on your doorstep must be really alarming.
Yeah, it is utterly bewildering, really. I think people in Bristol, we've had a lot of news in Bristol in this year already, and we've had a lot of horrible news as well, and this is just adding to it in a pretty horrible and gruesome way. People are kind of trying to get their head around what was going on, what's happened here. Like, obviously there's something terrible has happened, but to kind of have it come out in
I don't know if it's just me, but it seems lately you're always hearing about bloody dismemberments and suitcases, and it just seems common all over the world every day. Loads of cases that do. There's a suitcase involved, or God. I mean, you've got to think. Even if you might kill someone in a moment of anger, we're all human. We can all do things that are crazy, in a moment. I honestly believe that, depending on how your buttons are triggered, or, I don't think there's many of us that haven't lost our temper. I mean, we haven't obviously murdered someone. And I think it's difficult to kill someone. I think that's the other thing we have to remember, is it is actually quite difficult to kill somebody. It's not an easy thing to do, because, the human body, the human person, the body, everything is designed for survival. So, it's difficult to kill someone. So it's different to attack someone and hurt them, and then it's different to attack someone and kill them. But let's suppose, let's give someone the benefit of the doubt and think they just lost complete control, but then it takes another sort of person, doesn't it, to then cut them up, put them in a suitcase and try and take them somewhere. How many people could do that? That's so. I just think you go from percentage wise, that maybe the percentage of people that maybe could lose it, especially if they've been drinking or taking drugs or doing whatever, there'd be that percentage of people that maybe in a fit of anger could attack someone, first of all. Then to kill them is a whole nother stage, because you'd attack someone. It takes a lot to kill someone. A lot. Unless you do it with a gun or something. It's like, if you haven't got a gun, I suppose, anyway, I don't want to go to intricacies of how you kill someone. But then there's a knife, I suppose, which is more easily accessible. So let's suppose you're one of the percentage that loses your temper and attacks someone. Then you're one of the percentage that not only attacks someone, but actually manages to kill them. How? God knows what. Then it's what you do after. What percentage of people, would then actually imagine, you just try and imagine, even the person that you might hate, the most, the thought of, cutting them up and putting them in a suitcase. So this is like extreme, isn't it? It's so extreme. It's not a crime of passion to cut someone up and put them in a suitcase. That's done in the cold light of day. That's not done in a moment of madness. It takes time, takes planning. You have to go and buy the stuff to do it. You have to buy the suitcase, so I think that's a different, how they can then claim manslaughter, for example, or anything like. It's not manslaughter when you chop someone up and put them in a suitcase. It's just so you you can't feel sorry for this guy, even if he had, even if somebody mentioned, I think it was Dottie mentioned earlier, you might claim that he's been abused. Well, even if he had, you still don't chop some, you might kill someone, but you don't chop them up and put them in a suitcase. That's no argument, is it, whatsoever? And I'm just looking at this now. Look at the flowers and everything, this lovely, peaceful scene of beauty. And twonks ruin it, don't they, by trying to deposit suitcases full of remains.
And be discovered in this way with, the suspension bridge in Bristol is probably the most recognisable landmark that people associate with Bristol from all around the world. And I was up there yesterday morning when it was closed off, and there were still tourists going up there taking the selfies with it, but without a clue that this had gone on overnight. And so yeah, it's just shocking and horrible, and everyone is in shock in the city.
And I mean, police may well not have said this. I'm just wondering why this man would be taking the suitcases up there. Was there a sense that maybe he didn't know that it was a manned bridge, and that he was maybe trying to dispose of this body?
That's a educated speculation. I'd imagine, what else? Who knows? Yeah. But that's a good assumption to make, that he was trying to chuck them over the edge of the bridge. Didn't realise that there's fences that are it's quite difficult to do that, and also that the bridge has somebody up there all the time.
Tristan, it's good to speak to you and get that update, and I'm sure there will be further updates from the police throughout the course of the day. Well, I'm sure we'll check in with you again. That's Tristan Cork there, chief reporter at Bristol Live. He did mention that there was a description which has been released by police, and indeed an image. If you go on to the times.com, if you've got a digital subscription, you can actually see what's essentially a photograph of this man caught as he was obviously trying to get away. You can't see all of his face, but it's quite a good picture. So it's well worth going online and having a look at that. And obviously, if there's any way you can help with the police investigation, do get in touch.
Good afternoon, everybody. I am Acting Bristol Commander, Acting Superintendent Bix Hayward-Meelan. At 11:57 yesterday, we received a report of a man with a suitcase acting suspiciously on Clifton Suspension Bridge. Officers arrived at the bridge within 10 minutes of the call, but the man had already left the area, leaving the suitcase behind. A second suitcase was located nearby a short time later. Sadly, the suitcases contained human remains. An immediate search of the area was carried out by officers on the ground with the support of the National Police Air Service and His Majesty's Coast Guard, following the discovery of the suitcases. These searches remain ongoing. Our major crime investigation team has launched an investigation which involves specialist officers and staff from across our organisation. Our immediate priority is to locate the man who took the suitcases to the bridge, identify the deceased, and inform their next of kin. We are releasing an image of a man that we are currently looking for, which I should hold up now for you, and I will show afterwards. And I shall show this afterwards for you all.
I wonder where he went after this, because I suppose when this video was done, they won't have identified the remains yet. So it's when they identified the remains, I suppose, and went to the actual place. How did they trace him back to the place where he lived with these two poor guys? Because they had that photo of him. I wonder if someone came forward and said who he was, or if they actually traced him back to the house, because the house was in London. So he travelled a long way to get to that bridge. Why he went to that bridge, I don't know. I wonder if he'd been there at some point with the guys, like as a, they'd showed him the area. Maybe he just didn't realise there was someone manning the bridge and there was CCTV there. Or did he just Google somewhere that was far away? I mean, this is what will all come out at the trial, I suppose, all the details.
He is described as black with a beard. He was wearing a black Adidas baseball cap with a white motif, a black jacket with a motif on the chest, and black trainers with thick white soles. He is also believed to be wearing, or have been wearing, a gold earring and was carrying a black backpack. Officers are currently working to track his movements through CCTV, and I can confirm that we know he left in the direction of Lee Woods behind me. At this stage, we are not aware of any current risk he poses to the wider public. However, if anyone sees him, we advise them not to approach him, and please do call 999 immediately. A forensic post-mortem examination is currently taking place, and whilst we continue to examine the scene, specialist investigators are working around the bridge and the surrounding area. As such, the bridge will remain closed whilst these inquiries are conducted. Initial inquiries have established the man with the suitcases was taken to the bridge in a taxi. This vehicle has been seized and the driver is helping us with our inquiries. This is a very disturbing incident and I fully recognise the concern it will cause for our communities. We currently have an increased presence of officers in the area, and I encourage anyone who has any concerns to please do speak with one of the team. As soon as we have any new information that I can share, I will of course provide an update, because I know so many unknowns in this situation will cause worry. Anyone with any information, no matter how insignificant you think that it is, please do contact us. There are two processes and ways in which you can get in touch, which we are currently setting up. The first is online through our major incident public portal at mipp.police.uk. Or you can call the incident room direct on the two following numbers: 0800 056 0944, or alternatively, if you're calling from outside of the UK, 0207 158 0010. I'm now happy to take some questions, but remind anybody that if you do see the individual that you think matches the description, 999, please. Right.
The person who has been found in the suitcases, gender, age, recent.
So at this time, Rob, a forensic post-mortem examination is currently underway, so we cannot confirm any information because that is still ongoing. As soon as I have that information, we will make sure that we share it.
Can you confirm if it's one or two people or persons?
At this time, I can't confirm because that forensic post-mortem is underway, and we will have that information and share it as soon as we do.
Did the taxi driver pick the man you're interested in up locally, or was he?
At this stage, we are still working with the taxi driver. He's helping us with our inquiries, and part of the investigation will be to understand that journey.
A lot of taxis now have CCTV in there.
And I'm sure that will form part of the investigation. Thank you so much.
Have you got any sense of who this person might be? I.e., does anybody recent, this, for instance, Jack O'Sullivan, potentially have you contacted his family?
So I understand that the parallels that might be made with Jack's case, and we would ask anybody to avoid any speculation at this time. What I can confirm is just because of the nature of the incident and the concerns that people may have, and as you've pointed out there, a senior officer has been in contact with Jack's family to inform them of the incident, but I can confirm at this time that no parallels are being actively drawn.
But are there any other missing people out there?
Yeah, so they felt like they had to mention this about Jack, which is strange, really, because when they found the remains recently, which turned out not to be Jack, they never mentioned it. But I want to talk about Jack O'Sullivan, but I won't have time in this stream now. We'll finish off talking about this, and then tonight we'll do part 2.
So this is very early stages in an investigation, so I can't comment on that one way or the other, I'm afraid. But as soon as I can, I will give you more.
Do you have any numbers in terms of officers involved in this? Obviously, a very significant manhunt for this dangerous person.
So in terms of specific numbers of officers involved, no, I don't have numbers to hand. However, we've got people from our neighbourhood policing team, who were the officers you saw me speaking to a moment ago, who are providing that reassurance on the scene and talking to individuals. We've got our major crime investigation team, which consists of police staff, investigators, detectives and the like, as well as specialist units. So there are a number of people working on this because I know it will cause concern and we want to find out what's happened as much as everybody else does. So we're putting resources.
The identity of the man, though?
At this time, without the forensic post-mortem results, I cannot comment on that because truthfully, I don't know. the man we're looking for. I know what I just shared with you in terms of that photograph. So at this time, that his identity, we are still working out who that person is.
And are there searches happening anywhere else in Bristol or otherwise?
So I can't comment on that this time because we are still at very, very early stages of investigation, trying to identify who the person was in that still and have those forensic postmortems on the suitcases.
Can I just ask you to clarify the sequence of events last?
Yeah, I like this woman because she's polite, but just saying I just wonder what the police must think when they get these questions sometimes from the reporters, which are just ridiculous. But anyway, she doesn't know anything. She said that they're looking for that man. They don't know who it is yet. But when this video was made, they hadn't identified the remains. They didn't know who the remains were from. They didn't think it was anything to do with Jack. She's just been telling them everything, and they just keep asking the same questions over and over again.
Tonight, who notified? Who called the police? Was it security staff? Who took that photo? Anything else you can say about the actual incident when they actually saw this man doing what he seemed to be doing?
So as you can imagine at the moment, the people that have called us and the report that we've had will form part of the investigation and part of the evidential process. So at this time, I'm not going to disclose who made that call, but what I can say is at 11:57, we received a report that I've outlined there, and that the image that was taken, we will also discuss the provenance of that in due course as part of the investigation. James?
Yeah, Biggs, I missed some of your statements, so apologies if you said this, but do you have any evidence to suggest whether this person might be getting harboured by others or if they're working alone? Or
Truthfully, at the moment, this is a very open investigation. We've got an open mind to all of the situations that could occur. I can't confirm one way or another because we are at the moment still trying to identify the person in the still, as well as identify the remains in the suitcases.
Okay, just a couple of questions, Paul, please. Presumably
Oh.
you've had a chance to look at the cameras on the field.
Not me personally, but we as the police, I presume, is part of. In fact, I'm confident that will be part of our investigation.
Presumably you've got a fairly good idea of the sequence of events.
Yeah.
Can you give us a little bit more detail about what those images?
Yeah. So at this time, the investigators are doing that, and they are putting together the time frame of what's happened and the inquiries that may come out of that. And it's important that they are given the time to be able to establish those and establish that time frame. And we will come back to you when we are able to firm it up specifically for you, as well as potentially any inquiries that have come out the back of it that we may need your support on later on as media.
Just specifically, did the taxi arrive on the bridge from this side or from the Lee Woods side?
I don't have the answer to that at the moment, truthfully. Not because we don't know, but I don't have the answer myself to that.
Can I have one
last
more?
question,
This particularly horrific discovery. How has it affected the officers in your words?
And I'm grateful for you asking that question. It's something that in a career, I'm sure somebody would never even anticipate coming across as part of their duty. So I can't speak on behalf of them because I haven't had the privilege of speaking to them. But what I can reassure you is that they are being supported and making sure that in the round, we are making sure that everybody connected with this investigation, their welfare is taken care of, and we're considering that. But thank you for that question. Thank you, everybody. Thank you very much.
Well done. I think she did well there, and like people commenting on her sexuality and her haircut. Really, what difference does that make? But anyway, I think she did very well, and good for her. So I expect she was probably thinking, oh God, it's like, I just always imagine with the police, like sometimes you have a bad day at work, don't you? It's like, but your bad day at work normally would be like dealing with a difficult customer or something. But when your bad day at work is finding human remains in a suitcase and having to do a police conference, and you haven't had time to have your hair cut or, put your, it's, I have a lot of respect for the police and what they have to do, because you know what, they're just people. It's like YouTubers are just people, like the police are just people, just normal people. They come from all walks of life. They're not like robots. They're not like special people. They're just normal people, just like you or me. And there's all different types of people, different walks of life. They come from, you know, and there's good ones and bad ones, just like there's good plumbers and bad plumbers, like there's good psychics and bad psychics, or good YouTubers and bad YouTubers, you know, good teachers and bad teachers. They're just people trying to do their job as best they can. And most of the time they do their jobs, nobody even notices what they're doing. And then suddenly get high profile case like this, you know, dismembered remains on Bristol Suspension Bridge, and they're right in the public spotlight, you know, or whether it's this case, Nicola Bulley case, Samantha Murphy case, all the high profile cases. Suddenly these normal people who basically they're just doing a job and going home at the end of the day to their families or whatever, are thrust into the public eye, and you know, not voluntarily. You know, YouTubers, singers, actors, celebrities, anybody who does it, you know, puts himself in the public eye voluntarily. But these people don't. You don't join the police force thinking you're going to be on the telly. You know, it's like you join the police force for whatever reason, you know, but it's not because you think you're going to be on the telly and people are going to be commenting on the way you look, etc. So, yeah, I feel a lot of sympathy for the police that get thrown to the forefront in these cases, and whatever they do, somebody's unhappy with them. There'll be somebody who thinks, believes them. There'll be other people say, oh no, the police are definitely lying. It's, you know, what do they call it? You know, they're always saying, oh, it's the police are sort of, it's a cover up. It's a cover up by the police, and other people not think, you know, there'll always be mixed opinions and mixed feelings. So I think it's a difficult job, I think. And she was quite young, that girl, so she did well. Sorry, I'm reading the chat now. I'm having a little read of the chat. Okay, so that's it. I'm going because now I still haven't. So the two things that I wanted to, three things that I still, God, I've been talking for almost 2 hours and I still haven't got round to three things that I wanted to talk about. So I wanted to, Sarah Sharif. Oh, let me talk about that. So the jury are still out in the Sarah Sharif trial. They resumed their deliberations today. 18 minutes ago, this post was put up. So again, now this could happen at any moment. A verdict could come through. As soon as I hear a verdict, I've got classes all afternoon, so it'd be difficult for me to come on and do a video till tonight. But I would definitely do a community post if any result is given. So Mr. Justice Kavanagh told them on Tuesday they're under no time pressure, adding that everyone in the trial deserved their complete attention and thoughtful consideration. So they were sent out to start their second day of deliberation shortly before 10:15. So these, I hate all of them, so I hope they're all found guilty of everything. I've come to the conclusion that they're all as guilty as each other. Faisal for not saying anything and for jet washing her body. This woman for, again, not saying anything and for biting her between her legs. And this twonk for everything he did. They're all as guilty as each other, in my opinion. I hope they're all found guilty. But anyway, we'll see. And this little angel, she'll get justice one way or another. Let's hope. And I just hope she's at peace now. She certainly won't be going through what she was going through when she was on this earth, will she? So the other two things I wanted to talk about are, of course, Hana Kobayashi, and that I think we'll do like a study group about her, and we'll talk about the different things that we think. Why is she in Mexico? Why did she go to Mexico? There's talk now that she may have done this sort of thing before. You know, her family, but at the end of the day, her family is still looking for someone. You know, they've got to deal with the death of her father, and now they don't know. You know, Hannah went out. We know for sure she went to Mexico, but we don't. It was weeks ago. So where is she now? Is she okay now? You know, that's still a complete mystery. And the other thing that I want to talk about at some point is, well, I say a new case. It's a new case for us to look at. The trial is coming up of the husband of Anna Walsh. Let me just give you a little quick synopsis. And this is Brian Walsh. Let's see if I can find a video. It might be easier for them just to... let's see what this one. So finally, this man is accused of killing his wife. This is a hell of a, you know, it's one of those sort of batshit crazy is the wrong thing to say, but, you know, he's denying the murder of his wife. Brian Walsh is denying the murder of his wife, Anna. And the trial is finally coming up, but this happened quite a long time ago. Not really quite sure why it's taken so long, but he is a known con man. He, you know, he's spent his whole life trying to con people. His mum is involved in some way. It feels like she's tried to cover up for him a little bit. But, you know, I need to go into the case properly. But let's just watch this video. It'll give you an idea of what's happening. Did you see his smile? This is the other thing. He's a nutter. Look, watch his face here. Hilarious, Brian. Hilarious being accused of the murder of your wife and the mother of your children. He's so funny. Yes, smile. What a absolute twonk this guy is. I just want to say a little bit about this man. He's been a con man all his life, and he conned Anna into marrying it. She's from Serbia. And Anna, you know, remember we've been looking at Anna Knežević, and she's from Colombia, but her Serbian husband murdered her. All these connections. But yeah, he has been a con man his whole life. He's and just the way he was smiling then, where he's been brought out in handcuffs for arresting his wife, and he thinks it's funny. You know, yet again, as I said, what did she see in him? What did she see in him? Well, he did tell her he was a millionaire and this, that, and the other, and a load of shite. Maybe that's why she was interested in him. But to me, I just look at him and I think, why would she even be interested in this man? You can just, to me, you just look at him, he looks like an absolute twonk. Look at the eyes. Look at his eyes. Oh God, why can't women see this in these guys? His eyes are horrible, scary. Oh, Anna, did you not see? Gosh. This is another one where the evidence is overwhelming against him, but he's still going to plead not guilty. She's very tiny, this woman, you know, very tiny, bless her. Oh, dear me. So that's a case that I will be talking about over the next few, you know, as the trial comes. There's a lot of information to share with you. It's, as I say, one of those cases where this guy thinks he's cleverer than everybody else, but actually is thick as SHIT. But anyway, okay, so thank you so much for watching. Oh, did I not share? Oh, don't tell me again I did that. Sorry. Let me see. Oh, let me share it again. So sorry. I do that all the time. I need to check that more. But anyway, there you go. Let me share it this time. Sorry. I just get carried away. Now I'm sharing. So let's watch it. It's only 4 minutes.
At 6, Brian Walsh is now facing a murder charge in connection with the disappearance of his wife, Anna. She is the mother of 3 from Cohasset who has not been seen since New Year's Day. Well, thanks for being with us tonight. I'm Priscilla Casper.
I'm JC Monahan. This is a significant update to a case that has received international attention. So let's walk you through the timeline on how we got to this point. As you mentioned, Priscilla, Anna Walsh was last seen on New Year's Day, but she wasn't reported missing until 3 days later. Police started to look for her and a few days later charged her husband, Brian Walsh, with misleading investigators. Then authorities announced they found a bloody knife in the couple's basement and say Walsh purchased hundreds of dollars worth of cleaning cleaning materials shortly after his wife disappeared. And now, as you can see, he is facing a murder charge. Excuse me.
And we do have team coverage tonight at 6, beginning with NBC 10's Michael Rosenfield joining us live outside Quincy District Court, where Walsh is set to appear tomorrow morning. Michael.
Yeah, Priscilla, this really was a crucial development in this case today and tomorrow. We could learn a lot more details about what may have happened between the couple and what the motive for the crime may have been. New developments in the high-profile mystery surrounding the disappearance of Anna Walsh. Prosecutors now believe her husband, Brian, murdered her.
Detectives from the Cohasset Police Department and the Massachusetts State Police detectives assigned to the Norfolk District Attorney's Office have been involved in an intensive investigation into the fate of Anna Walsh, a 39-year-old Cohasset mother of 3.
No one has seen the real estate executive since the early morning hours of New Year's Day. Investigators say Brian wasn't truthful when he was questioned about her whereabouts, so he's already been charged with misleading a police investigation, and he's currently in jail. Now, a murder charge.
It's like so much pain on one side for her and the boys, and then the other side of just pure anger. Why would somebody do such a thing?
Prosecutors haven't said what, if any, new evidence has led them to charge Brian with Anna's death. They've already revealed they found a bloody knife inside the family's home, and they say Brian is seen on surveillance video buying $450 worth of cleaning supplies. Sources have told the NBC 10 investigators that police also found a hacksaw and bloody towels when a dumpster and trash facility were searched in Swampscott and Peabody.
I was hoping for a miracle, and at this point, it appears that that is no longer the case, and I'm just praying for her peace wherever she is at this point in time. I know she's in the heavens.
I did reach out to Brian Walsh's attorney today about this new charge, but she declined to comment except to say she is focused on defending him in court. We're live in Quincy tonight. Michael Rosenfield, NBC 10 Boston.
All right, thank you, Michael. We want to head to Cohasset, where NBC 10's Kirsten Glavin is live tonight outside the couple's home. Kirsten, this has been the talk of the town. How are people reacting to the breaking development in the case?
Well, no doubt a heartbreaking development in this case, and many who say they knew Brian Walsh now facing a murder charge after learning this news, they say it's not really coming as a surprise, and many are pointing to the evidence that investigators did present in court. Those who knew Anna Walsh say everybody just wants closure and wants the truth. So in a way, this is a sense of relief to the Cohasset community that justice is now starting to play out. It's been a week without answers. A vigil was held here in Cohasset last Thursday, everyone gathering to help each other cope with the overwhelming sadness and uncertainty. I just spoke with two of Anna's friends who knew her from a charity organization that they were all in together. They described this situation as devastating.
The evidence has been overwhelming, and so even though the news are heartbreaking, they're not a surprise. They were expected. Of course, there's always a hope that there must be some terrible misunderstanding.
We know that what everybody was thinking anyway, that unfortunately Anna is not coming back, but now the person who is responsible for it will be hopefully in jail.
Many are also praying for the couple's 3 children, saying no matter what happens, they hope they all stick together. Live in Cohasset, I'm Kirsten Glavin, NBC 10 Boston.
Okay. So we finally got there in the end with the story of Anna. Well, but we're going to go into it much deeper. There's so much to tell about this case. That Brian Walsh one, he not only that, the worst thing he's done, of course, is obviously disposed of Anna somewhere. But also, before that, he's a known con man. He's been a con man all his life. He sold an Andy Warhol painting that wasn't a real painting. He's conned people out of money. He conned his father's estate out of the property. He's just been a con man all his life. And unfortunately for Anna, she fell for him. Really, what he did with Anna was he gaslit her. You know, she's from Serbia. He's sort of, but what happened was he told her that he was this successful businessman and this, that, and the other. And that's, you know, when they met and then they got married and blah, 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 blah. But as it turned out, so Anna was an immigrant who had come to America, a Serbian immigrant. She was really successful in her own right. So what happened is she became so successful. And of course, Brian, all his things were just falling apart because none of them were real. All the things that he was saying was his business and this and that and the other, blah, de, blah, de, blah, de, blah. None of it was real, whereas Anna was really being successful in business, etc. And she wised up to Brian and she started seeing somebody else and she was about to leave him. And as we all know, that's the most dangerous time for anyone, a man or a woman, when they want to split up a relationship. The most dangerous time is when they take that decision. And my advice to anyone would be just go, don't bother telling him before that you're going, because that's when you're at your absolute mass. I'm going in Spanish now, it's because I'm getting tired. That's your most dangerous time. When you've decided you're going to leave that person, don't tell them. Just, you have to do it all in secret, literally. And that's unfortunately what Anna did, I think. He knew that she was going to leave him for someone else. She was seeing someone else. And then Anna disappeared into thin air. Disappeared into, he has no idea what happened to her, according to him. Anyway, yes. So, please like. I'm going to finish now. I'll probably back tonight. And I'll see you, Mitchell Quay. Well, I've covered the Mitchell Quay case, Dottie. I've been fascinated by that case because lovely Lindsay Quay, she was so lovely. Anyway, I have got a video on my channel. If you tap in Mitchell Quay into my channel, you will get, I have covered the Mitchell Quay case. There's so many of them similar, isn't there? Anyway, I'm off. So thank you for watching. Please don't forget to like. Please consider becoming a member to get your Christmas gift if you want. And if you want the book or your Christmas gift, remember you've got to give me some sort of address. Send it to my email, and I will make sure you get a Christmas present this year. So thank you so much. Yeah, it's been a long one. And I haven't even got through everything I wanted to get through, but I'll see you really soon in the next video. And until then, thank you and goodbye.